Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Friday Podcast.
Kimberly, in the new studio, Murgatroyd, how are you?
I am great. I'm loving the new studio. So,
You like it? Fancy pantsy, huh?
listeners, did you notice anything different? Did you notice? We were gone. We were gone, but now we are back. And if you haven't noticed, go take a peek at our new cover art and the new name of this feed, because it has changed from the Rob Murgatroyd Show to...
The Kimberly Murgatroyd Show.
No.
What is it?
Friday.
Friday has been so popular that it won out even me. So Rob Murgatroyd is now gone. He's like what happens to all of us in life. We go out in the blaze of glory.
Oh my God.
But I am
This is
replacing
so
it.
dramatic.
I am replacing it with a new podcast called Next Chapter. And it is exactly what you think it is, except it's not really about writing a book or something. It's Next Chapter. What is your next chapter in life? And it's not necessarily an age thing. It could be a stage thing. Somebody could be graduating college and they're entering a new chapter of their life. Could be somebody who's been doing a career for 25 years and they're entering a new chapter of their life. You get the idea. But listen, kids, that is not why we are gathered here today. We're gathered here today to talk about balance. Can you ever have balance? Can you be completely balanced? You know, Tony Robbins taught me something once, not me personally. He taught me and 40 billion other people. When you're on a seesaw and somebody's on one end of the seesaw and somebody's on the other end of the seesaw and you're perfectly balanced, is that fun? No. You want to jerk the seesaw around. So it's not always going to be perfectly balanced, but the idea is for you to try and find ways that you can have more balance in your life. And so what triggered this conversation is my wife, bless her heart, as they say in the South, one day said to me, after we had been living in Italy for a few months, on the first go-around before we moved to Hermosa Beach in California, I retired from chiropractic and moved to, we spent a couple of months in Italy and then moved to California. But when we got to California after a few months in Italy, she looked at me one day and she said, I like you better in Italy. And it was...
Can I explain that?
I mean, I think the snark explains itself, but go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. So when we were in Italy, we were here for 3 months and we were just lighter. We still were working. We were still making money and launching new programs and all the things that we do, but we were lighter. We would have a shorter work block where we'd get things done because we wanted to get out. We wanted to go for a walk. We wanted to go have a lazy lunch. We wanted to go, walk around a museum. And after a little while, I started to notice this shift. And Rob was lighter. He was easier. He was less stressed. He was more joyful. He was connecting deeper with Sophia. He was connecting deeper with me. I mean, I remember walking through the piazza next to the Duomo and, Sophia, it had just rained and there's big puddles everywhere. And, Sophia's like, I want to go jump in the puddles. We're like, okay. And so we just sat there and watched her and took pictures and videos and laughed of her jumping in the puddles for 30 minutes. And it was like Tuesday. It wasn't like Sunday afternoon, it was like during the week. And there was no like, I got to go. I got to be here. I got to be there. And, Rob, I love you, but you are the master of telling me all the shit you got to do.
I do.
As if no one else in the world has anything to do. You got to tell me all the shit you got to do.
Have you seen my list?
That's it. Literally. He's like, have you seen the list of things I have to do today? I'm like, oh, my God.
I have it right here if you want to see it.
I'm sure you do, Virgo. But look, so that light and airy and flexible and easy guy then left Italy and went back to LA. And after he has one or two dinners with his entrepreneurial guy circle of friends, he starts twitching.
Back in the grinds.
He's back in the grind. And not only is he back in the grind, but he has scheduled himself so back to back to back to back that he literally would be late for the next coaching call or whatever if he had to pee. Like, he didn't have time to eat. He didn't have time to use the potty. Can I say that? I'm a mom, so that's how we reference.
Potty's weird.
It's weird. Even Sophia
Like,
now is like,
I'm used to you saying it, but it's a little weird.
I know, but even Sophia
because
said to me the other
it
day.
almost sounds like you're going to go, did you do the pee-pee in your potty?
I did. I am. Even Sophia told me, Mom, can you use the word toilet? But anyway, my point is, you started to walk around shaking, and you were like, when you are so stressed and driven and overwhelmed and trying to live this American life of more and more and more and more and more and more and more, where there's never a ceiling, you are crazy and you're less fun to be around. And so that's why I said I liked you better in Italy.
Well, I liked me better in Italy too, which is why we ultimately wound up here. So let's see if we can help these nice people out, okay? Shall we?
We shall.
We shall.
We shall.
Shall. You're learning Italian, so you're inverting your sentence structure. Shall I, you?
Yeah, it's all crazy.
Number one is to make a decision.
Well, what are we telling them?
I'm about to tell you what we're going to tell them. Here's what we're telling them. We're talking about
how they can apply these balance rules.
How they can have more balance.
Okay, but
stay
hold on.
Stay with me.
We haven't gotten there yet. So you just pause. Hold your horses. So that's why I liked you more in Italy, right? So then we moved here, and you brought this American hustle for the dream, this driver for success with you. And so what was that like for you initially when you moved here? Explain that, because I remember you talking something about having a Lamborghini, feeling like a Lamborghini behind like a horse and carriage.
Well, when I first got here, I had a lot of, I'm a recovering stress machine, right?
Stress achiever.
Stressed achiever. There you go. And when you're a stressed achiever and you've got, a 3 o'clock meeting, a 4 o'clock meeting, a 5 o'clock meeting, you train your body to go fast, and you train your body to be extremely efficient in your conversation, efficient in landing the plane of the Zoom at exactly 3:59 because the next one starts at 4 o'clock or whatever. So I recall when we first moved here and settled in, and I had to go, we use mailboxes, et cetera, to store all of our packages because we have not figured out a way that a mailman can get into our building to leave us anything. That's another conversation. So I have to walk clear across the city of Florence to go to this mailbox, et cetera, which means that I have to pass the Italians that are making love to their gelato along the way, that are licking an ice cream cone with, this incredible reverence with their face up towards the sun on a bridge. And, there's a sidewalk that's 6 inches wide that, if I take one step to the left, a bus will hit me. And if I take one step to the right, I go into the Arno River. So the only thing I can do is wait for this lovely Sophia Loren that is holding her gelato and just contemplating the meaning of the universe while I'm trying to get over the freaking bridge. And I could feel my stomach twisting as I'm trying to get through it. And I realized that it is uniquely, I think, I'm going to say American because maybe it's not American. I don't know. It's uniquely stressed entrepreneur to just go so fast and want to do so many things in a day that you are passing so many things. Like, I could just have easily said, okay, I'm going to go over this bridge and I am going to look at what somebody just flew, because I guarantee you on that bridge, there's somebody who just flew at least 15 hours to get to look at that bridge. So I could enjoy the moment. So to answer your question, I was taking all of this stressed entrepreneurship personality type and putting it into the city.
All right. And so we have this balance that we're seeing. So we move here and we have this American dream, grind it out. Like when you're watching your your favorite TikToker walk their dog and you're thinking, oh my God, they just have the life. They're easy reading a book and chilling. No, they are grinding 20 hours that day. I promise you. They're showing you the highlight reel and you think they're not doing the work, but if they are making money, they are doing the work.
And they're having their husband retake the 38,000 picture because the red big hat did not look right in the photo.
Right. So like, don't be confused by the highlight reel and know that there's a grinding that is happening behind the scenes on a scale. Like I see a meme that it's like, I quit my 9 to 5 so I could have time freedom and I ended up working 24/7. Like that's literally the case for a lot of people. So you have this grind. We need more. I need bigger. I need fancier in this American dream. And then we come here and it's like, the pace of the walk of the local Italian is so slow that I actually wobble. I tried to do it behind them once. I wobble halfway through. Like I don't have the balance to walk that slow. It's kind of remarkable. And so look, you can get stuck the other way, right? Like you can come here and just walk super slow and go into the long lazy lunch followed by the 17-course dinner, followed by the, and you can go the other way and do absolutely nothing. But that's not what we're capable of because we're still American and we still have that driver. But what we are learning and what the book you're going to be writing is about how can we take these two cultures and take the good from both of them and find the perfect balance between them.
Yeah, I ran into somebody on that bridge that I was just talking about.
Did you walk slowly and make love to your gelato?
No, I was on a bicycle. I was figured out a faster mode of transportation.
Oh my God.
And no, I needed the bike. I was carrying a bunch of shit, so it had a basket. It was just easier. And so my friend said to me, we just did the stop and chat, and he said, so how? Because we were talking about balance, and he said, how is Italy helping you with balance? And I said, it's a fair question, and I know he's into finance. So I said, you know how the stock market has these things called curbs in them where if it gets too high, where people are just, the market is going through the roof. If it gets too high, they shut it down. And if it gets too low, they shut it down to make sure that emotion doesn't get the best of everybody. And all of a sudden there's this massive sell-off or there's this massive explosion and problems. Stock markets have crashed through the years and created huge problems. So they put these little buffers in that if it goes down more than, I don't know what it is, 400 points, let's say, as an example, it just slows down. I look at the environment that you're in. So, we'll take this to the listener now. So whether you're living in America, Italy, Canada, Australia, wherever you are, the environment that you choose to put your life in will largely dictate how you behave. So, for example, if you are having a conversation with somebody from New York, it's going to be pretty brief. If you're having a conversation with somebody from California, it's going to be a little longer.
I like how you did that.
Thank you. And of course, if you're living in Florence, you're going to have a much slower way of life because you're surrounded by olive trees and wine and people that value food and architecture and all of those things. So I think the first thing, if we can, jump into giving these nice folks some help, I think the first thing is to make a decision where when you do your weekly planning or you do your daily planning, that if you wanted to, you can fill that thing on your calendar from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., you can fill it every hour. And you can fill it every single minute with work. And maybe you throw in there a working lunch, or you throw in there a
potty break.
Well, nobody's going to put a potty break in there, but you can max it out. And here's the thing: when you're dead, your inbox is still going to keep coming. Right? You're still going to get email. There's still going to be requests for your time if they don't know that you died. It never, ever, ever stops. It never is going to stop. You can get to inbox 0 for 10 minutes, okay? And then it's going to be full again. So I believe that you have to recognize that this is a zero-sum game unless you are intentional about saying, I am going to throw in some time for me. I am going to create a block of time that, between 12 and 2 in the afternoon, that it is a non-work time. And be very frank with you, I'm speaking as much to myself as anybody else, because when sometimes this is the illusion too. Sometimes you get super excited and you're like, but I love what I do. Yeah, but it's still work and it's still throwing you out of balance. You can love what you do so much that you ignore your family. Love what you do so much that you ignore your body. Love what you do so much that you don't travel. You get the idea.
Okay, so this is really interesting. If you don't know, we have a Patreon community, and in our Patreon community, we have one of the levels is called the ultimate level, and they get a monthly Zoom with us in addition to a bunch of other stuff. They get a monthly Zoom with us. And on our very first monthly Zoom that we did with these amazing people in the ultimate group, we did a life inventory, and Rob rattled off all the areas of life that he wanted them to assign a number to. 0 to 10, you can't choose 7 because 7 is the comfortable zone. You either have to go 6 or 8, meaning you don't like it that much or you're not in that much or you're really in. And we had them go through this process. And I think it's so valuable to every, quarter maybe, go through a life inventory. And if you want access to our recording, because if you joined today, the Ultimate membership, you would get all of our previous recordings. You could actually join it. Just go to patreon.com/Friday. It'll be in the show notes as well. And you will find our very first recording where we did this life inventory. And what was interesting is that when you have to look at all these areas of life and you have to assign a number to them, you can't fudge it and say, well, I love my work. No, that's not the question. What are you doing for fun? Like, what are you consistently putting into your calendar that's fun? Well, my work is fun. Nope. You got to go back. You can't be work. It has to purely be for joy and entertainment and fun. It cannot be for a hobby. Like, you can't make money at it, kind of thing. And it's really interesting to do that at least quarterly. And can I tell them about this morning and what provoked this conversation?
It depends on what you're going to tell them.
Well, you're about to find out. Rob and I were in the coffee shop, and we have a lot of projects going right now. And like we mentioned before, we just shifted the podcast. We have a new team that we're onboarding. We have all kinds of things going on in addition to just regular life. And Rob's guy friends here, the Italian friends and the American expat friends, have started reaching out and going, dude, where are you? Like, why haven't we seen you? Why, like, you're not coming to any of the aperitivo hours, or we're not, like, can we meet for lunch? Like, what are you mad at me? Are you gone? Like, what's happening? And we sat there and I said, Rob, you need to schedule this. And he did what he does. Let me give you my list. And he literally went through every single day telling me how he can't make time or he doesn't have time for these things because all of these areas he's prioritizing. And I told him, I said, you're doing exactly what you did before. You're overscheduling yourself. You're not releasing time for that impromptu coffee, for that connection with your community. Like, one of the things you missed so much when we lived in California was having a really local set of friends. You had friends that lived in other cities in California and Seattle and Arizona, and you guys would all meet up once every other month or whatever. But like, you didn't have that local community. That's been your pride and joy since you moved here, was this group of guys, and you just abandoned it because you don't have time. And I had to hold his feet to the fire on that one and be like, no, you need to prioritize this and make time, because that's where your inventory was weak in that moment.
It is, but let's give a practical way to help me and them. So here's what we're going to use a real live example, and you can coach me through this. Okay. So you and I have made a decision that there are certain things that we need to get done in a given week jointly. For example, and this is strictly around business, right? So there's so much content that has to be produced, whether it's on social or whether it's in the podcast. There's pre-planning that needs to be done to, sort of map out what we're doing for these Friday episodes, what I'm doing for the new podcast. We're onboarding a new team, what we have to do with the team, and I can go on and on and on, right? And so we put together a list and said, okay, well, we have Italian class, so, don't do that on Friday morning. And, on Wednesday, the house cleaner comes, and so he's got a vacuum going, so we can't record a podcast there, and, dealing with logistical limitations. And so we carved out this week, and it's like, we do these things on Monday, or respectively, these things on Tuesday, these things Wednesday and Thursday, etc. And so we created a marching orders for what we need to do so that we stay on top of it and we don't fall behind, right? Very American of us. And we got the whole thing all planned out. Well, there's other parts of life, right? There's the workout time. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just do that in the afternoon. Okay. Well, then then there's the evening family time. Oh, yeah. Well, but then there's the Zoom time because I do coaching, right? I got coaching. And when the East Coast and the West Coast wakes up, that's early afternoon. So I got to do that. So now we got these big blocks, right? We got the content block, the coaching block, the workout block, the dinner block, etc. Well, block, your calendar's full. And then you get the call from your favorite happy Italian and says, Buongiorno, aperitivo, adesso. Adesso, that means now. Now. Wait a minute.
Because they don't schedule anything.
They don't schedule. I'm in the middle of my thing. I got today's. It's Tuesday. I got.
He's like, I got bicep curls.
I'm on bicep curls right now. Well, what are you doing after? Oh, I got coaching after that. Well, what are you doing after coaching? Well, it's the family time. Well, what's tomorrow? Well, it's more of the same. I do coffee with Kim in the morning, and then so now you got all these things worked out, right? So finding the balance between. Hold on. And I think I have an answer. So I'm going to answer my own thing. Okay.
No, I want an opportunity.
You're going to get an opportunity after because you had to I put you through this morning and you gave me shit about it. So I've been thinking about it and I think I have an answer. Okay. So the way we crafted this is onto a spreadsheet. And so I literally have a Monday column with check boxes. And so I just check them as I go down. What I'm going to do, unless you tell me that this is not a good idea or you think you have a better idea or just you're going to recommend I should just test it, one or the other. But I think what I'm going to do is, even though I have them scheduled for each day, I'm going to hold the entirety of the week as a week project and not a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to put them in on the days I want to do it, but I know that there's going to be the, hey, let's go for lunch. So if on Wednesday I have to go back to Tuesday and play catch up, then so be it, because Lori Harder taught me.
Thank you. I've been sitting here chomping at the bit going, but what did Lori just say to you in Sicily?
Okay, so we're on the same page. Yes. So Lori Harder, she's got a great podcast called Earn Your Happy, if you haven't listened to it. She's a friend of ours. We were just recently in Sicily for a friend's 50th birthday, and she said, I asked her, I know what it was. Whenever I do events or we travel, I always, on the last night we get together, I ask my favorite podcast questions to my friends, and they love it. I love it, and it's fun. And I asked her, which is one of my favorite podcast questions, I said, what is something that you have completely changed your mind on that you once really believed? And she immediately said that breaking a schedule is okay. And if you know Lori, you know that she's pretty regimented. So I said, what do you mean by that? She said, well, I used to believe that there is freedom in structure. And not that I don't believe that not that I don't believe that structure creates freedom. I now alternatively and additionally believe that every now and again that you need to break the routine and allow the freedom of breaking the routine to allow magic to happen. So, for example, if my friend says, hey, let's go out for a spritz in the afternoon, and that is the day I'm recording, these fakakta reels that I do where I'm talking to myself on the terrace. If that's the day, Well, then maybe tomorrow is the day that I'm going to do those reels because it's on my sheet and I could just check it off tomorrow. I don't have to do it today.
See, and you just learned the most important Italian lesson. Domani.
I learned the most important. That's a really so the word for domani means tomorrow. I'm sitting with that for a second. So that's really good. You gave me a really good. That was really really good.
Italy, you got to explain it though.
Yeah.
So in Italy, sometimes, like let's say you need your door fixed, and you go to the guy that fixes the door, and he's like, "Okay, I can do it. When can you do it? I don't know. Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday." Tuesday happens and he goes, domani. Or everything, look, that can be very frustrating as well, right? So again, what we're saying is there's the American way where everything is checklisted, balanced, scheduled, hyper scheduled, overwhelming sometimes, right? And then there's Italian way where domani is just going to keep going on and on. We need to find the balance. So Rob, you need to create the schedule, but allow room for magic
really
to come
good.
into your schedule and say domani, but you should have a rule. You should have a one domani rule where you can brush off the reel and reschedule it on another day one time that week. So it's like a one domani rule. So you can't, every day you can't go, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. So you can't every day keep pushing it off to the next day. There's a one domani rule.
That's really good. The one Peter Attia, with as it relates to diet, has a rule that says I can't make the same mistake 2 times in a row. So the idea is if you go out and you do an ice cream sundae at dinner and you're like, oh my God, and then what happens? You go like, well, if I did that, I ruined it already.
Yeah.
The rule is you can't do 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So I love that. Okay, cool. So next point, which I have no idea what number we're on, so we're going to call it number 4. Evaluate the 80-20. So if you think about the 80-20, for those of you that don't know the principle, I'm sure everybody listening to this does, but just to give it to you quickly, 20% of your actions are going to be responsible for 80% of your results. So if you look at what you have scheduled for the week, 20% of those things are actually going to matter. So look through and you can even do this with employees too, look through your schedule and eliminate anything that is really not needle-moving activity that you can open up and free more time with. So does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So let's move on to
The next strategy.
The next strategy. And I don't know what the number is. I'm going to call it 5. Why are you waving your hands at me?
Because it
I like
doesn't matter.
numbers. Well, it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me.
Well, it matters to me because there was no 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think listen, this is recorded. This is the difference between when we have an argument and go, that's not what I said, because now I'm going to pull the tape. Okay?
You can pull the tape. Is that how old you are?
By the way, there's no tape.
No tape.
Nobody has tape. All right, The last one we're going to do is this is an interesting one. This takes a lot of time, but it's extremely valuable, I think. I'll give it to you really simply. Look at your life and split it in 2. On the left-hand side of the page, write down personal, and on your right-hand side of the page, write down professional. And in the personal area, think of all the categories that you have of your life. The categories are: you are a husband, you're a wife. You are a dad, you're a mom. You get the idea. You're, somebody who is an athlete, because you work out. So think of all the categories that you have in your life. And then do the same for your professional. What are the areas you have? I'm a podcaster. I am a lawyer.
You create reels.
I create reels. I'm a reel maker. And you go through these categories. And then within each category, list the roles that you play for that category. So for example, let's use dad. One of the roles that I might call it would be a Saturday afternoon soccer player dad. And the role is that on Saturday afternoons, I play soccer with Sophia. And then when you do your weekly planning, look at all of the roles. Make a list of every role you have in every category. and look at it collectively and go, not this is to get you out of just looking at business. So you look at all these different roles, right? As a husband, what's your role? Your role is a date nighter. Your role is a listener, whatever. You get the idea. When you have all these roles that you have for your personal life and all these roles that you have for your professional life, it triggers all the things you want to make sure that happen. And so when you're planning your week, split it up and have 3 or 4 results that you're looking for personally and 3 or 4 results that you're looking for professionally, so that your calendar does not become 100% professional or 100% work. That's what helps me. I did that this morning. I got up at 5 and I did it this morning, and I looked through and I was like, holy shit, I am not getting, that's why I left this morning. I was like, Sophia, can I take you to art tomorrow so that we could play soccer after art? Because I realized, holy shit, I told Sophia I was going to play soccer with her every Saturday. I just stopped. I don't know how it stopped, why it stopped. I know why it stopped. I prioritized something over it. So having a list, for me, I don't know if this helps anybody else, but having a list of the roles that you play in other categories of your life, I think is helpful in triggering that those things get scheduled too.
Or the categories that you want to play, want to be for me, one of those things that has been put into my life recently is going back to cooking and making dinners. This is going to sound really stupid to all the parents out there that make dinner every night, but we lived here for a year and we had a really small kitchen and it was just not fun to cook, and I wasn't enjoying the process. But now we bought a Traeger, and now I have a bigger kitchen and better appliances, and I'm able to actually go in and be the chef of the family, right?
All right. Well, are you going to go cook for me now? Because I'm hungry.
Okay, let's go.
All right. That's it, everybody. Welcome to the new Friday feed. I hope you enjoy it. And you know what? It would mean the world to us if you just went out there and gave us a 5-star review if you like this episode. That's it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Become part of our inner circle and unlock uncensored, deeper, more personal content that will help you design your dream life and effortlessly navigate obstacles alongside your partner.
Click the Patreon link for instant access to our premium community and get exclusive content, monthly live workshops, and a bunch of other freebies.